There's no secret that the build to Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley hasn't exactly been great. It feels directionless, it feels rushed, and worst of all, it just does not feel like a WrestleMania worthy match. So, today, I'm fixing that. I'm going to step into the shoes of Triple H, I'm going to pick up the pin, and I'm going to turn Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill not only into a WrestleMania match, but a WrestleMania main event worthy match. If you enjoy wrestling content at all, make sure to subscribe. I'm planning on doing more of these booking style videos, so if you enjoy that, again, make sure to subscribe. We are picking this up from what is going to be this Friday's episode of SmackDown, which is March the 20th. This is probably going to come out after that, so y'all are going to have some context that I don't have yet when filming this, but regardless, it's fine. We're picking it up from March 20th, and right now, these two have zero substance. So the first thing we're going to do is give them something real to work with. So, in this episode, we're going to see Jade Cargill call out Rhea Ripley. And so that exact thing happens. Jade goes down to the ring, calls out Rhea, and of course, Rhea answers. And Jade tells Rhea the only reason that she was at the top of the card, the only reason that Rhea is viewed as the most dominant and most important woman in wrestling right now is because Jade wasn't in WWE yet when that started. And now that she's here, now that she's champion, she is unstoppable. Rhea fires back immediately, saying, "You've only defended the title once. I mean, you barely had any matches, maybe 5 matches since you become women's champion. You're not dominant, you're protected." And then she drops the line, "At WrestleMania, I don't just beat you, I don't just show you what dominance looks like, but I show you what brutality looks like." So that's how this thing starts, which if you ask me is a lot better than "my muscles look bigger than yours," which is a real line from a promo that they had last week. So we're on to next week. We are now on March 27th, I believe that it is. We're on March 27th episode of SmackDown, and we see Rhea Ripley backstage, walking in how they always do, but she is met by Io Sky. Io's been invited to SmackDown for a potential WrestleMania opportunity because if you remember so far, she does not have her ticket booked to WrestleMania. She is currently off the card. So it's later in the night, Rhea walks down to the ring and starts cutting a promo calling out Jade Cargill, and she doesn't answer. Rhea then talks about how she must have gotten to Jade and made her realize that she's not that dominant and she doesn't know what brutality looks like. Otherwise, she wouldn't be scared to answer the call of Rhea Ripley. And just at that moment, Jade pops up on the Titantron. She tells Rhea, "You know what? I hate to say it, but you might be right. Maybe I don't know what dominance is. Maybe I don't know what brutality looks like. At least, I didn't." At that time, she steps away from the camera and you see revealed behind her Io Sky laid out through a windshield of a car, all bloodied and battered. It looks the same as Jade looked when Naomi took her out, putting her through a car windshield, except 10 times worse. Think Cody Rhodes or Jon Moxley anytime they fight anybody. In the background, you can hear Jade do some cartoonish evil laugh, and Rhea takes off and sprints backstage, but of course, by the time she gets there, Jade is gone. In doing this, we give the feud stakes and we make it personal. I hate to do this to Io Sky because obviously now she's going to have to miss WrestleMania in order to pay this off, which sucks. But at the moment, she's not in any feud. And at this point, you would be shoehorning her into a different WrestleMania match where I think it would do her, maybe not her, but it would do much more justice to the company to let her be the thing that drives this feud forward. It just makes sense using one of, if not the most likable person in WWE to really drive home the fact that Jade is actually ruthless and actually dominant and doesn't just talk about it, but finally shows it in a way that makes this feud just mean so much more. The next week on SmackDown, we are now only 3 weeks out from WrestleMania. Rhea goes straight to Nick Aldis. He immediately apologized, saying that Jade manipulated the situation. She's the one that offered Io to come to SmackDown to earn a spot into their title match. She convinces Nick Aldis that Rhea actually got to her, and she wants to prove to the world that not only can she beat Rhea, but she can beat Io, she can beat all of the best. She convinced Nick that she was serious about it. Clearly, she was not. So, of course, Nick Aldis is apologetic, but he's also enraged himself because he got fooled in all of this. He suspended Jade. She is not there on SmackDown tonight, and he doesn't even know if she will be allowed to be at WrestleMania. She might be stripped from the championship. He is enraged about the whole situation, just like Rhea is. Rhea then tells him if he actually wants Jade to be punished, then he will let her go to WrestleMania and face Rhea one-on-one. Anything less than that would be getting off easy. After thinking it through, Aldis finally reluctantly agrees and schedules a a contract signing for next week's SmackDown, but tells Rhea there can be no physicality. This close to WrestleMania, you can't let your big Mania match go up in smoke. There can't be any injuries. You don't want to allow too much to happen on screen. Nothing physical. So we arrive next week at that contract signing, and Jade comes out and signs immediately. So we arrive next week at that contract signing, and Jade comes out and she is surrounded by a handful of security guards. She goes straight to the ring and she signs a contract. She says she owes the crowd, she owes Rhea, she owes Io no explanation. She says nothing. Then Rhea Ripley's music hits, and there's a delay. A little more of a delay, before finally you see a security guard go flying through the curtain. And then after another half second, another one goes flying through the curtain. And then you see Rhea Ripley storming out to the ring. Security guards are trying to meet her in the middle, and she is just absolutely flattening everybody. She finally gets to the ring. There's still a few more there, and she's tossing them over the top rope before finally she turns around and right into a boot from Jade Cargill. Jade then picks Rhea up, puts her down with a Jaded, walks out of the ring, still chirping at the crowd, saying she owes them nothing all the way out. So finally we get to the go home SmackDown, the SmackDown the day before WrestleMania. We get to the ring, and I view this as being the opening segment to SmackDown. We get to the ring, and there's Jade in one corner, and then there's Rhea in the other corner, and in between is just full of security guards. They are trying to make sure absolutely nothing happens, which, of course, if you've watched wrestling before, means something's about to happen. Rhea demands that Jade is accountable for her actions and demands a reason why she did it, and Jade just simply says, "I owe you nothing. I had nothing to say." Rhea just keeps pressing her and pressing her before finally Jade says, "The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner. She had it coming." And Rhea comes unglued, goes through all the security guards and attacks Jade. Jade's going through security guards and attacking Rhea. It is full-blown chaos. These two can't be pulled apart. They are going at it. Think Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu at that one Saturday Night's Main event, probably back in November-ish. Maybe not quite to that extent. I don't want a full-blown match-length brawl out of these two, but I do want it to go on a little bit before it is finally separated. Nick Aldis comes down to the ring, and he says that contract last week was never officially signed, so he is making a change. This match will no longer be a standard one-on-one match, but instead it will be a Falls Count Anywhere match. I think doing that is important because I think this feud has rise above just a standard one-on-one match. There's so much hatred and animosity between these two. You need to do a little something more. Not to mention Jade typically has shorter matches, and a lot of that is to do because of her inexperience in the ring. You make it a stipulation match that gives her more freedom to do more things, and it can be a proper world title match length on the WrestleMania card, which is of course what we want. As for the match itself, I'll kind of let that be left up to you. I think there are so many different ways you could go about this. Whether anything happens during this match other than just a 1, 2, 3 for one of the women, that can be left up to your interpretation. I think Io coming back, is she mad at Jade? Of course. But is she mad at Rhea for putting her in this situation to begin with? I think Bianca obviously plays a huge factor whenever she can come back. And when she comes back, does she side with Jade? And we can get some sort of Rhea and Io versus Jade and Bianca? Or does she go against Jade? And then there's that rivalry. There's so many different ways you can go with how this ends up being booked. And I think WWE would just be in so much better position, not only going towards WrestleMania and at WrestleMania, but then after WrestleMania, if they went with this direction instead of whatever they're doing. But if you made it this far, I appreciate you for watching. Let me know in the comments, do you think this is something that WWE should be doing, or is this just as bad as what WWE is doing currently? I'd like to think it ain't that bad, but let me know in the comments. More importantly, how would you book Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.